Hello children, how are you all today? I hope you all are fit and fine. For today's English lesson, we are going to start a new chapter from your English Supplementary Reader book, An Alien Hand, and this chapter is the desert. You might have heard this term in your social science class when you were taught about the features that are there on the earth. Right? On this planet, on the earth, we find a variety of features like the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, the seas, then we have the plains, then we have the plateaus, again then we have the desert also. Right? You might have heard about it, a place where the temperature is really high. Okay, there is no rainfall or very little rainfall. The places where vegetation is very scanty, the irrigation, the water supply is only through water channels that have been built there through dams or through some channels, right? Water channels which have been drawn till there. So children, today this chapter will help us learn a little bit more about deserts. Okay, you might want to visit one. You may have heard that in India, Rajasthan, the part that is in western India is mostly desert, right? Most part of Gujarat and most part of Rajasthan is desert only. So now, before starting the lesson, I have a question. You need to find out the desert in Rajasthan and what is it called, right? You have to find out the largest desert in the world. Name it, and I'll be asking that in your video lesson at the very end and also in your online classes. Okay children, so think you have enough time, you can find it out. And now we will be starting with the reading of the text. This chapter is on page number 15 of your book. Okay, so you can see you have this image, the desert, and also it could look like this. Okay, our desert might look like this, with a camel, with cactuses, with palm trees, with the sun scorching heat. Okay, so children, now let's begin with the chapter. The desert. Our desert is generally without water and vegetation. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle of a vast desert is a beautiful sight. A desert may be too hot or too cold. So yes children, you can see the 3 points are given here. Before we move ahead with the story, the writer wanted us to read this because we know about a desert. Our desert is generally without vegetation and water. That means vegetation means what? Without trees or proper plantations, without any plantation or agricultural growth. The soil, the sand there is not suitable for agriculture or any proper vegetation. But in some places you will find green patch. Patch is like you have certain areas which have plantations, right? Which have vegetations where you will find plants. Okay, with fresh water. The oasis, maybe we will be reading here. So you know that some areas have waters, and around that water area, around that zone where you find water, you will see some really good trees, right? Some good green patches and green trees in the middle of a vast desert. Where if you have visited a desert, you may know that the desert is a vast area. Okay, till a long distance you won't find a single mode of communication or a single person to talk to, right? The people stay closer to the town or to the village, but the desert area is really mostly empty. Okay, a desert may be too cold or too hot. Some of you might have thought that the deserts could only be hot. The temperature could only rise there in deserts. But no, in some parts of the desert in some deserts, the rainfall is scanty and yet they are located in colder regions. They are located in the colder zones. That's why they are under the head of cold deserts. Okay children, so let's begin with the reading of the text first. Those of us who live in regions covered with forests and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really like. Okay, so we are in the comfort of our homes. Okay, in the plains we find everything, right? We can find the e-rickshaws to travel, even the trains, the airplanes. So these all features are very easily available to us. staying in cold areas like hilly regions, we cannot imagine what it is like to live in a desert. We might find it very difficult that how do the people there survive, because the temperature is either too hot or too cold. So how can we survive the life of a desert or life in a desert? But people do stay there, right? They live there and they are living there happily. Although the temperature, although the climate can be a little bit tricky, can be a little bit complicated, but people do stay there, right? So how do they survive, and how it is so difficult for us to imagine life there? Let's read it out. The popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand. Okay? Till far wherever you can see, till where your eyes reach, you see only desert and sand. Okay, you have this perception that we won't find anything except desert, except the sand, long stretches of land covered in sand, right? We never imagined otherwise, because whenever someone tells you this term, whenever someone talks of a desert, that mostly there will be large stretches of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. So this is not all false, right? This is slightly true that yes, deserts do not receive rainfall, or even when they receive, when the deserts do have rain, it's very slight, it's very less. So it's very scanty, not much. And the vegetation also won't grow if the rain is not supplied to the desert, right? So yes, the vegetation is also scanty, it's very less. It is dry, hot, waterless and without shelter. Now you have imagined that when there is such a large stretch of sand areas, where will people live? There would be no water. How will people survive? There is no water. We have learned this only, right? That there is no water. There people cannot live, cannot survive, because there is no agriculture. Now children, to some extent this is true, and to a greater extent it's false, because we know a larger population of people stay there, right? Larger population stays in a desert area. So it's not entirely correct that this is not suitable for shelter or not suitable for people to live there. For those who have studied it, now those who have studied our culture, the tradition, the life in a desert, they say it otherwise. What do they say? The desert can be a beautiful place. Those who have studied, those who have researched about desert, those who have experienced the life in a desert, they say it otherwise, that no, it's not entirely lifeless. People and animals and vegetation survive and equally thrive in the desert. Okay, it very much progresses. It is the home of variety of people. Yes, do you understand that there are villages and there are towns as well? So we know a lot of cities in India only in the desert area that are surviving, that are thriving actually, right? Animals and plants that have learned to live under very hot and dry conditions. Now children, see, it's all about adaptations. When you live in a colder climate, when you live in hilly areas, if some of you might have been to hilly areas from a very hot place or a very humid place, you might find it difficult to survive there, to stay alive there. But if you are staying at a place for a continuous period of time, for a continuous stretch of time, then you adapt to the environment, then you adapt to the climate. Okay. Similarly, the people staying in the desert have survived the climate there. Now the animals and plants also have living there since centuries, and they have learned to live in that hot and dry condition. Why dry? Because rainfall is scanty, I told you, and hot because the sun is really extreme at that point, right? Means extreme to that region. True, the ground is not always hidden by a cover of grass, plants and trees as it is in other climates. So in a desert type of climates, we know that the vegetation is very scanty. The writer is saying the same thing. Yes, it's true that in desert we won't find a large stretch of land covered in forest or in grass or in other type of plants. Okay, we don't find it. It's true. He's accepting that. But whenever it rains, which is rare, it is very rare means what? Very uncommon, means it's that rainfall doesn't occur that much, right? Just very rare. Even if it occurs, desert flowers bloom and the sight can be as rewarding as that of any tropical garden. So what is he saying? What is the poet, what does the author wants to say here? That when it rains, the desert flowers, there are flowers that are growing in the desert, they bloom. Bloom means they blossom, they open up, okay? And the sight can be rewarding. When you watch it, when you watch the desert flowers grow and bloom, you might enjoy the sight. That might be pleasing to your eyes. Our desert is not always a flat, unchanging wasteland of dry sand. So yes, our desert is not always this stretch of sand that we suppose. We people who are living in plains area or other areas in hilly areas, we might think that the desert is just a large stretch of land where the sand areas are never ending, right? But the author is saying, the story writer is saying that it's not true. It may have mountains and hills. Okay, so yes, we may find hills and mountains in a desert. It's not always like you will find sand only. There are also some other features like hills and mountains. It may have an oasis. I told you about oasis, freshwater areas, the depths or the dug up areas are filled with fresh water, and those areas of water, stretches of patches of water, are known as oasis, big or small. So this oasis can be big or small. An oasis is like a green island in the middle of a desert. So generally you will find around this oasis the green plants and trees. Mostly you will find around them only the trees that are green, right? Where a spring or a well gives plants and trees a better chance to grow. So we will see, because of the water, because of the available water there, the growth of the trees and plants are very likely around that oasis. A desert may be hot like the Thar. So what the desert I was talking about in India is the Thar. I told you you will get your answer in this chapter only when I started the lesson. So yes, this desert, the Thar desert, is in India and it's in Rajasthan. The greater part of the desert is in Rajasthan only, so it's the Thar desert, or cold like Ladakh. You might have heard about a cold desert where the temperature is not high. You might have heard the place called Ladakh. Okay, it was recently in news for unobvious reasons. It was in the news, but you might have heard somewhere about this place. It's a beautiful place. You should go there if you, obviously not in this pandemic, but you should travel there. It's just so beautiful. Now children, with this I want to tell you two things. You have to spot the Thar desert and Ladakh in the map and let me know in your online class where you have found it. Okay children? But generally speaking, if a place has little or no water and vegetation, people usually call it a desert. You might have given some examples to people, right? Some places lacking something. You have told that this is a desert area where you don't find any mode of communication. You are always suffering or struggling with the network of your phones. So you might have called some areas like this desert, or where when the water is scanty somewhere, where you don't find water anywhere, you may also call that area desert. So people call these areas desert when there is very less rainfall or no vegetation at all. Some deserts are almost totally without water. So what is the author saying? Some areas, some deserts are almost without water. There is not even oasis till a long distance. So you won't find any source of water in the most part of a desert. In such places where there is no water, okay, what happens? Strong winds blow. The winds will blow, stronger winds. Why? Because there is nothing like trees or plantation or vegetations to control the flow of air, right? So for this reason, what will happen? The strong winds will be blowing, raising heaps of sands and depositing them as mounds. So what happens children? If you can see here, these are called mounds. Okay, when something like this, sand is carried by the strong wind and they deposit to one places, like all this, at a certain distance you will find that the hips are raised. Okay, hips of sand you will find. This hip of sand is called what? We will learn here. These are called sand dunes. So children, you can see these places which are raised in the desert. They are not actually mountains, because we know mountains have this peak-like structure or this dome-like structure, but they are not mountains. They are actually hip of sand which has been carried by the wind, and they are deposited at places, at some or around the places where there was lot of accumulation of sand. So this deposition, this hip mound that is formed, is called the sand dunes, that shift and move endlessly across the desert. Few plants can survive on such dry shifting sands. Now children, understand this, that plants need a firm ground to stay there, right? We know, you have learned in your social science class or in your biology class, you might be learning later, that these plants need soil to stay grounded, because the soil, the wet soil, holds the trees to its places, holds the plants to its places. But because sand cannot retain water, cannot hold moisture, cannot hold water, all the water, even when it rains, it sips into the water table. It doesn't stay there. So the plants which will be growing on top of it will be carried away by the strong wind. It won't survive the strong wind. Nothing to hold on the ground. So this sand is always flowing from one place to another. So it's very difficult to have a proper vegetation there, because it's not grounded. The soil is not there to hold the plants, right? Okay. So they are always shifting. Shifting sands means what? The sand is always carried away by the wind and deposited elsewhere. Then you shift, moving from one place to another. So in the shifting sand, there can be possibly no vegetation. Now children, you can see there's a comprehension check on page number 16. We will be doing that. Okay. Now from the first paragraph, pick out two phrases which describe the desert as most people believe it is. So children, I won't be writing the answers right now. I will just be discussing it, and then when we start to write the question answers, we will be doing this one. Okay. So see, pick out two phrases which describe the desert as most people believe it is. Number one, you will find at line number 5. Okay. Now you can see there, on page number 15 only, you can see that at line number 5 you have it here. Okay, you can see waterless and without water and endless stretch of land. Two phrases have been asked to describe the desert as most people believe it is. So first one is an endless stretch of land, and the second one is waterless and without shelter. Okay. Now the second question, pick out two phrases which describe the desert as specialists see it. What do you think is an apt description and why? So how do the specialists see it? You can see in the 7th, 8th and 9th line of the chapter of the first paragraph, you can see the desert can be a beautiful place. A beautiful place is one of the phrases, and the home of variety of people, animal and plants, right? These two phrases. And now among these two we have learned in total 4 phrases. What do you think can be an apt description for the desert? All the people think those phrases, or what the specialists think about desert? You need to think about it until I make you write the answer. Okay. Now moving to number 2. The phrases on the left in the following box occurs in the text. Match each of them with a phrase on the right. So children, on page number 17 you can see there's this match the following. We will be doing both of this after I finish explaining you, after I finish telling you the answers. An endless stretch of sand is, can you find in this section the right answer? Yes, I found it. Nothing but sand as far as one can see. So an endless stretch of land means what? Nothing but only sand as far as your eyes reach, or as far as one can see. Number 2, waterless and without water. Which one? No water and no shade. Yes, there's no shade because even in areas like plains you will find at least some trees to rest under, which gives you shade. But in desert area there are almost no trees to give you shade. Even when you have trees, they are like palm trees or coconut trees. These trees, they won't be providing you much shade. You need some evergreen trees like banyan, neem. These trees are fuller, they are dense, so they can provide you shade, but these trees are not able to give us that. And oasis, I told you what is that. It is a fertile place with water and plants in a desert. And number 4, hidden by a cover of grass. What does it mean? Not visible because the grass is thick. So children, we are done with comprehension check on page number 16 and 17. Yes, orally we will be doing it in written form as well, but let me continue for today with the reading of the text. Okay. Desert plants and animals learn to require much less water than most plants and animals. So what happens? Desert plants and animals learn to require. Now they adapt themselves. I was telling you about adaptation because when you start living in a region, you learn to survive. You adapt to its temperature or the climatic conditions. Okay, if you are staying in a hot place, you will learn to store water in your body. You will try not losing it. You will where you have deficiency of water, where you are not getting something, you learn to live on something else or survive on something else. So in desert, plants and animals require much less water because we know the water is not available there due to lack of rainfall. The camel is a typical desert animal. We know that camels are found in desert only because they can store water in their body and also in their hump they can store the food. So they can go a lot of days without water and food. Smaller desert animals have unusual means of satisfying their needs of water. So there are also other animals. There are not only camels but other smaller animals also which we can find in the desert area. So we will be learning about their method of survival. How do they fulfill their needs of water or satisfy their needs of water? All living things need water in order to survive. We know two things that we humans or animals or plants need to survive. These things are air and water. Air means the oxygen, actually mainly the oxygen, but the plants need the carbon dioxide also, so I am calling that air. The few plants and animals that live in deserts have developed the ability to require less water than most plants and animals. The camel, popularly known as the ship of the desert, can drink a lot of water at one time. Okay, so human might get tired, like us who are living in hilly regions or plains might not have enough water at a time, but the ship of the desert, ship means the the camel is compared to the ship because it is the most common way of travel, okay, most common way of transport in desert areas. So this animal is mostly used for carrying loads or people or even some other necessary items. So camel can survive a lot of days without water, I told you so, and they can at one time drink a lot of water. Camels can do without water for days together. The reason is they sweat very little. Now, yes children, how do you lose water from your body? When you are staying in a hot area, when you are staying in a humid area, you tend to lose a lot of water from your body, okay, when you are living in a dry and hot area. So in desert, the climate is very extreme, it's very dry. So whenever we drink water, whenever we take in water, it comes in the form of sweat. It comes out in the form of sweat and we lose water from our body. But camels can stay without water for days because it can take in water and it sweat very little. So the reason for camel being able to survive in a desert is given by the author is that it sweats very little. We sweat because we must keep our body temperature constant. Yes, you should know this by now, that why do we sweat? Because when it's very hot, when we feel very hot, when our body inside is very much heated, the water is released in order to compensate that heat, okay, to cool our body down. So we sweat and we dehydrate ourselves. In that way we lose the water in the body. We sweat when it gets hot, and this cools the body. I told you this happens, that we sweat because this is the way in which the body releases it heat, right? The hotness, the heat is released from the body in the form of perspiration, in the form of sweat. Camels can stand high body temperature. Now we cannot do that, but camels have adapted to this hot climate in the desert. They have learned to sweat very little, and because it can stand, it can withstand, it can tolerate the body temperature. For them the standard is very high. They can tolerate a lot of body heat. They don't need to sweat and can therefore retain the water they drink for longer periods of time. So what is it being said here? That they do not sweat, and so the water that they have drank, they have taken in, stays longer in their body than most of us. The smaller desert animals do not drink water. Now we are going to talk about the smaller desert animals. We have talked about the camel. We have had an idea how the camel survived the desert. Now we will be learning about the smaller desert animals. They burrow underground during the hot day and come out at night to eat. So what do they do? Do you understand burrows? Rabbit and other smaller animals live in burrows. They dig the ground, they dig the soil and enter the depth of the soil, enter the ground depth of the soil, and then that helps them in finding a cool place for themselves. So these desert animals only come out during the night, or they just dig burrows during the hot day. They do not come out of their home, they do not come out of their burrows. Instead they stay there throughout the day and only come for food at night. Some of them eat other animals and get the water they need from the moisture in the meat. So children, you know that meat of animals or meat of us also, humans also, store some water or has some moisture. So some bigger animals or some animals eat those smaller animals, and when they eat them, the water content in the meat is then taken by the animal which eat those animals or which ate those animals. Other eat plants and seeds and get the water they need from plant juices. So not all animals survive on animal meat, but many animals also feed themselves on seeds and plants, and also seed and plant have stored water inside them, so they get their water, the other animals get their water supply from these plant meal or plant food. Now children, moving to the next paragraph. Desert plants also adapt themselves to the life they lead. Cactus plants store water in their thick stems. Their roots lie close to the surface of the ground and quickly absorb the moisture from the light rain that occasionally fall. So children, how do the desert plants survive? Because yes, they are also losing water, they are also bearing the heat. Now how will they survive? The cactus plant, this one, which has thorns, little thorns, they store water in their thick stems. You can see this portion is modified stem. So the leaves are modified into thorns and the stem are very thick so that they can store moisture, they can store water in them. Their roots lie close to the surface of the ground. Their roots go deep down under the soil in search of water and quickly absorb the moisture from the light rain that occasionally falls. I told you that the water sips in the sand and it goes below the ground really deep inside. So because the roots of this cactus plants have traveled deep under the soil, those roots quickly absorb that light rainfall, light water that is available after the light shower or rainfall. Okay children, so for today let me end the chapter here only. In our next video lesson, we will be continuing with the lesson. We will be learning about the desert. We don't have much to read now, just a little bit of the text left, and then we will be doing the comprehension check, that is on page number 16, 17 and yes, on 19. Okay children, so thank you for watching the video lesson. Please go through the story, please learn the words, and if you have any trouble understanding the story, you can definitely ask me in your online class. Children, for today, bye bye, take care of yourself.